The TDS ironclad surged through the void, its engines burning bright as it led the Terran defense armada across the galaxy. Around it, a fleet of warships, heavy cruisers, fast destroyers, and stealth corvettes moved in perfect formation. Each ship bristled with advanced weapons designed for one purpose: to protect humanity and strike fear into anyone who dared harm them. Admiral Marcus Steele stood tall on the command deck, his sharp eyes fixed on the holographic map of the Exalthean sector. The distress signal from the Horizon Dawn blinked softly, a fragile reminder that time was running out. "How long until we reach the system?" Steele asked, his voice low but firm. 20 minutes, Admiral," replied Lieutenant Hensley, the fleet's navigation officer. "The Vornak mothership is still in orbit around a shattered moon. No sign they've left yet." Steele's jaw tightened. He knew the Vornak well, pirates and slavers who preyed on weak, unprotected colonies. But humans were no longer weak, and they were far from unprotected. "Open a priority channel," Steele ordered. A soft chime rang as the communication link activated. Across the fleet, every captain and soldier could hear his words. "This is Admiral Steele. A Terran ship has been attacked. Civilians are being held captive. We are their only hope," he said, his voice steady and unyielding. "The galaxy thinks humanity is soft. They believe we will turn away when faced with violence. Today, we prove them wrong." His words hung heavy in the air. Every member of the fleet knew the truth: if you harm one human, you answer to all of them. "Prepare for battle," Steele commanded. "We take our people back. No one gets left behind." Trapped on the Horizon Dawn, back on the broken Horizon Dawn, Captain Evelyn Drake stayed hidden in the maintenance shaft, her breath shallow and her heart pounding. She clutched a small plasma cutter, a weak weapon, but better than nothing. In the distance, she heard the cries of her surviving crew. The Vornak were dragging them toward the docking bay, where slave cages awaited. Each scream fueled her anger. She would not let the Vornak win. Crawling through the narrow shaft, Evelyn reached an emergency weapons cache. Inside, she found a compact pulse pistol and a combat knife. Not much, but it gave her a fighting chance. She activated her earpiece, hoping to connect to any remaining crew. "This is Captain Drake," she whispered. "If anyone can hear me, we fight now, or we die in chains." A crackle of static answered her. Then, a faint voice, "Captain, I'm here." It was Ensign Malik, a young engineer who had survived the initial attack. "I'm in the engineering bay," he continued. "I can rig the core to overload, but I'll need time." Evelyn's lips curled into a fierce smile. "Good. Do it. I'll keep the Vornak busy." The war fleet arrives. The TDS ironclad dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a flash of blue energy, the entire Terran war fleet appearing behind it. The Vornak mothership, a massive, jagged vessel covered in rust-red armor, loomed over the shattered moon. Smaller Vornak ships circled like scavengers, guarding their prize. Admiral Steele wasted no time. "All ships engage," he ordered. The first strike came fast. Terran railguns fired massive tungsten slugs, tearing through the Vornak's outer defenses. Stealth corvettes slipped past the chaos, disabling escape routes. The sky burned with the light of battle as human warships unleashed their fury. On the Vornak bridge, Warlord Zarkul snarled as his ship rocked under the assault. "Impossible," he hissed. "They came this quickly?" One of his lieutenants trembled. "The humans, they brought their whole fleet." Zarkul's eyes burned with rage. "Then we'll break them. Fight for freedom." Inside the Horizon Dawn, Evelyn Drake moved like a shadow through the broken ship. She ambushed a Vornak guard, striking fast and hard. The alien fell, and she took his rifle. Her earpiece buzzed again. "Captain, the core is ready to blow on your signal," Malik said. "Hold for my command," she replied. In the docking bay, Evelyn saw the surviving crew bruised but alive. The Vornak were too distracted by the battle outside to notice her arrival. Taking aim, she fired. Blue energy bolts tore through the slavers. The prisoners, realizing their chance, fought back, overpowering their captors with sheer will. Evelyn reached Malik, who stood by the flickering core console. "Blow it once we're clear," she said. The sound of footsteps filled the air. Zarkul himself had come, his massive frame blocking their path. "You think you can escape?" he growled. Evelyn raised her rifle, her voice calm. "No. We're taking back our ship." Victory of the Deathworlders as the battle raged in orbit. The Horizon Dawn burst free from the Vornak mothership. The overloaded core exploded moments later, sending a shockwave through the enemy fleet. Admiral Steele watched from the ironclad, satisfied. "Lock weapons on the remaining Vornak ships," he said. "End this." The Terran fleet unleashed a final, devastating barrage. What remained of the Vornak forces was reduced to burning wreckage. When the dust settled, the survivors of the Horizon Dawn were safe. Evelyn Drake stood on the bridge of her reclaimed ship, bruised but unbroken. A message echoed across the stars, sent by Admiral Steele himself, to any who dare harm humanity. "This is your only warning. We come for our own. And we do not forgive." The war fleet of the Deathworlders had answered the call, and the galaxy would never forget it. The vast silence of space stretched endlessly, broken only by the hum of mighty engines as the TDS ironclad cut through the black. It was the pride of the Terran Defense Armada, a colossal warship built for one purpose: to protect humanity from any who dared threaten it. On the bridge, Admiral Marcus Steele stood like a statue, his eyes fixed on the glowing red dot on the holographic star map. It was the distress signal from the Horizon Dawn, still pulsing faintly from the edge of the Exalthean sector. Every few seconds, the same desperate message played in a loop. "This is Captain Evelyn Drake of the Horizon Dawn. We have been attacked by the Vornak. If anyone can hear this, please help." The message was weak, flickering with static, but it was clear enough. Humans were in danger, and for Steele, that meant only one thing. "Action. Status report," Steele said, his voice calm but cold. Lieutenant Hensley, the fleet's navigation officer, glanced at her screen. "We're 5 minutes from the system, Admiral. All ships are in formation and weapons are armed. Any response from the Vornak?" Hensley shook her head. "None. They're not expecting us." A small, grim smile touched Steele's lips. The Vornak were known for their cruelty. They raided ships, captured civilians, and sold them to the highest bidder. They had preyed on weak colonies and unarmed vessels for years. But now, they had made a mistake. They had crossed humans. Steele turned to Commander Rajan, his second-in-command. "What do we know about their forces?" Rajan's fingers moved quickly across the console, pulling up tactical data. A large image of the Vornak mothership appeared, a jagged, rust-colored beast covered in heavy armor. Around it floated a dozen smaller raider ships, fast and deadly but fragile compared to human warships. "Standard Vornak formation," Rajan reported. "Their mothership is equipped with plasma cannons and energy shields, but they won't hold against a full Terran assault." He paused. "However, if we wait too long, they'll jump to faster than light speed. We'll lose them." Steele's expression darkened. He would not let that happen. "Send a message to the entire fleet," he ordered. "We go in fast. We go in hard. No Vornak ship leaves that system." The war fleet awakened. Across the fleet, Steele's words rang clear. Battle-hardened captains and soldiers moved with precision. On the TDS Valiant, a destroyer known for its speed, Captain Aria Cole grinned as she powered up the ship's railguns. "About time we teach the Vornak a lesson," she said, her crew cheering in agreement. In the hangar bay of the TDS Ironclad, Terran Marines prepared for boarding operations. They wore advanced battle armor, built to survive in the harshest environments. Among them was Sergeant Dax Reynolds, who checked his plasma rifle with a calm, steady hand. "They took our people," he said quietly to his squad. "We take them back." The Terran Defense Armada was not just a fleet, it was a promise. A promise that no human would ever be abandoned. A warning to the Star. Steele stood before the Central Command console, his voice firm as he sent a transmission directly to the Vornak mothership. "This is Admiral Marcus Steele of the Terran Defense Armada," he said, his tone cold as steel. "You have taken a Terran vessel and its crew. You will release them immediately or we will bring destruction upon you." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, the reply came a guttural, mocking voice. "This is Warlord Arkul," the Vornak leader sneered. "You humans are bold to threaten us. Your ship is already broken. Your people are ours." Steele's face remained calm, but there was a fire in his eyes. "Very well," he said. "You had your chance." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "Engage battle formation. No mercy." The iron fist of humanity as the fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The Vornak ships appeared on the main screen. Steele wasted no time. All ships fire at will. The first strike came without warning. Terran railguns roared, hurling projectiles at near-light speeds. The leading Vornak ships exploded instantly, their shields useless against the raw kinetic force. Stealth corvettes slipped behind enemy lines, disabling their escape routes. Heavy cruisers unleashed energy lances, cutting through Vornak armor like paper. On the Vornak bridge, Warlord Zarkul staggered as his ship shook from the impact. "Impossible," he roared. "They came this quickly?" His second-in-command trembled. "The humans? They brought a whole fleet." Zarkul's claws curled into fists. "Then we will crush them." But he did not understand the truth. Humans did not come to negotiate. They came to win. Hope in the darkness, deep inside the horizon dawn, Captain Evelyn Drake heard the distant thunder of battle. She smiled despite her pain. "They came." In her earpiece, Ensign Malik's voice crackled through. "Captain, I think it's the fleet. The Terran Defense Armada is here." "Good," Evelyn said, gripping her pulse pistol tighter. "Now let's show these Vornak they picked the wrong people to mess with." The fight for freedom had begun. And with the war fleet of Deathworlders above, the Vornak would soon learn no one takes a human without paying the price. The Vornak warlord Arkul stood on the command deck of his mothership, his sharp claws tapping against the metal railing. Around him, the hum of alien technology filled the air, but his focus was on the battle unfolding beyond the thick viewing glass. Flashes of light streaked across the blackness of space as the Terran Defense Armada tore through his raiding fleet. Human railguns fired with terrifying precision, ripping his smaller ships apart. Plasma beams from Terran cruisers burned through Vornak armor as if it were paper. Zarkul's lips curled into a sneer. "They fight hard," he growled. "But they are still just humans, fragile, weak. They cannot match us." A trembling Vornak officer hesitated before speaking. "Warlord, the humans have already destroyed half our escort ships. Their fleet is larger than we expected." Zarkul let out a low, guttural laugh. "Let them come. Humans are too soft. They fear pain. They will break soon enough." But he did not know humans. Not yet. The iron will of humanity aboard the TDCE ironclad, Admiral Marcus Steele watched the battle from the command center. His face was calm, but his mind moved quickly, calculating every move. The Vornak were aggressive, but they were sloppy. They believed humans would retreat. They were wrong. "Status report," Steele ordered. Lieutenant Hensley scanned the battlefield. 12 Vornak ships destroyed, sir. Their mothership's shields are holding, but they're weakened. Our forces are closing in." Steele nodded. "Good. They think we will hesitate? They think we're afraid." His voice turned cold. "We'll show them what happens when you threaten our people." He turned to Commander Rajan. "Prepare the Hellstorm cannons. Full power. We'll crack their shields wide open." A fight for survival deep within the broken horizon dawn, Captain Evelyn Drake crept through the darkened corridors. The smell of smoke and burned metal filled the air. The Vornak had taken most of her surviving crew to the holding cells, but she wasn't done fighting. She pressed her back against the wall as 2 Vornak guards passed by. Their voices were harsh and guttural. "Humans are weak," one snarled. "They will fetch a good price in the slave markets." Evelyn's hands tightened into fists. "They think we're weak? Let's show them the truth." As soon as the guards passed, she slipped into a maintenance shaft. Her earpiece buzzed softly. It was Ensign Malik, still hiding in the engine bay. "Captain, His voice was tense but steady. "I've rigged the core. If you give the order, I can overload it and blow a hole in the Vornak ship." Evelyn smiled faintly. "Hold that thought, Malik. We'll make it count." The first crack outside, the Terran defense armada moved like a hammer, smashing into the Vornak lines. The TDDS ironclad led the charge, its massive Hellstorm cannons glowing with energy. "Fire!" Steele ordered. Twin beams of searing white light erupted from the ironclad's front cannons, slamming into the Vornak mothership's shields. The energy barrier flickered and groaned under the pressure. "Direct hit, sir," Hensley reported. "Their shields are failing." Steele's voice remained cold and steady. Again. For the first time, the Vornak mothership lay exposed. "Send a message to their leader," Steele commanded. "Let them know what happens when you cross humanity." A mistake realized too late. Texar Cool snarled as his ship shook under the human assault. Warning lights flashed across the command deck. He had never faced this kind of force before. "They should be retreating," he roared. "Why aren't they breaking?" His officers swallowed hard. Warlord humans do not abandon their own. Before XR Cool could respond, a new transmission cut through the noise, a calm, deadly voice. "Warlord XR Cool," Admiral Steele said, his words sharp as blades. "You have one chance. Release our people and surrender, or we will tear your ship apart." Sarkul's claws dug into the armrests of his throne. "Foolish humans," he spat. "We do not surrender." The turning tide. Inside the Horizon Dawn, Evelyn Drake moved swiftly. With her pulse pistol raised, she ambushed two more guards, dropping them with precise shots. She reached the holding cells where her crew bruised but alive waited. "We're getting out of here," she said, unlocking the doors. Ensign Malik's voice crackled in her ear again. "Captain, the core is ready. Just say the word." Evelyn's eyes hardened. "Do it." In the engine bay, Malik pressed the final sequence. A low rumble shook the ship as the overloaded core surged with unstable energy. "Core overload initiated," Malik confirmed. 3 minutes until detonation." Evelyn led her crew toward the docking bay. "Let's move, our fleet is here." The price of arrogance in the TDS ironclad, Steele received the signal from Malik. The core was going critical. It was time to end this. "Lock weapons on their engines," he ordered. "They don't leave." A final volley of railgun fire struck the Vornak mothership, disabling its ability to escape. Moments later, the core on the Horizon Dawn detonated. A massive explosion tore through the Vornak's side, sending fire and debris into the void. On the bridge of the dying Vornak ship, Warlord Zarkul realized his mistake too late. He had underestimated humanity, and it had cost him everything. Victory of the Deathworlder Sevlin and her crew reached the escape pods just in time. As the Horizon Dawn burned, they launched toward the safety of the ironclad. Steele watched the Vornak mothership shatter under the combined power of the explosion and Terran weapons. A cold satisfaction settled over him. "Rescue teams, bring them home," he said softly. As the smoke cleared, one thing was clear to every species watching: never underestimate humanity. The void of space trembled under the fury of the Terran defense armada. The once dreaded Vornak mothership drifted in flames, broken and helpless. Escape pods carrying the rescued human crew sped toward the TDS ironclad, while the last remains of the Vornak fleet scattered in every direction, desperate to flee the wrath they had awakened. Admiral Marcus Steele stood tall on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. His eyes, cold as the stars, remained fixed on the burning wreckage. "Enemy ships retreating, sir," Lieutenant Hensley reported. "But 3 Vornak raiders are still within strike range. They're targeting our rescue teams." Steele's jaw tightened. The Vornak had already crossed the line by attacking a Terran vessel, but to strike at defenseless survivors? That was unforgivable. "No one touches our people," he said, his voice like steel. "Prepare the fleet. We strike first." The hunters become the hunted across the fleet. Battle stations lit up as Steele's command spread. On the TDS Valiant, a fast destroyer built for pursuit, Captain Arya Cole grinned as she received her orders. "About time," she muttered, activating the ship's thrusters. "Helm, lock onto the nearest raider. We're running them down." The Vornak had once been feared across the outer colonies. Their raiders struck fast, plundering ships and vanishing before anyone could respond. But against humans, speed alone was not enough. As the Valiant surged forward, its railguns hummed with power. Within seconds, glowing projectiles shot through the void, each one moving so fast that no energy shield could block them. The nearest Vornak ship tried to evade, but the humans were faster. A single shot pierced the raider's engine core, turning the ship into a ball of fire. "Target neutralized," Cole reported. "Who's next?" A desperate gamble on the bridge of the second Vornak raider, Captain Gorkal snarled as his sensors showed the destruction of his fellow ship. "They are Deathworlders," his second-in-command hissed. "They are not like the others." Gorkal knew the truth. Humans came from a death world, a planet where danger was a constant part of life. They did not break under pressure. They became stronger. But Gorkal was a survivor. He would not die here. "Activate the quantum drive," he ordered. "We retreat to the Exalthean Rift. They will follow us." The officer protested. "Let them," Gorkal spat. "They will not survive what waits in the rift." The chase begins in the TDS Ironclad. Hensley's fingers danced over her console. "Admiral, the last two raiders are moving toward the Exalthean Rift," she reported. Commander Rajan frowned. "The rift is a gravity storm. No sane ship goes near it." Steele's face hardened. "The Vornak think we'll back off. They don't understand who they're dealing with." He turned to his communications officer. "Send a fleet-wide message no one escapes. Pursue and destroy." Across the fleet, human warships accelerated, engines blazing. The hunt had begun. The Deathworlders strike the Vornak raiders, plunged toward the swirling chaos of the Exalthean Rift, a region where gravity waves twisted reality and tore unshielded ships apart. Gorkal believed the humans would not risk following them. He was wrong. The TDS Valiant arrived first, moving like a spear through the void. Captain Cole's voice was cold and sharp. "Target locked." A spread of plasma torpedoes leaped from her ship, chasing the Vornak vessel. Gorkal's raider swerved, but the torpedoes were too fast. They struck in a brilliant flash, shredding the ship into debris. "One down," Cole said. "Where's the last one?" A final stand. The last Vornak raider was larger, a command ship equipped with heavy cannons. It turned to face the advancing Terran fleet, unleashing a barrage of plasma fire. On the Ironclad, the ship shook under the impact. "Minimal damage," Rajan reported. Steele nodded. "They're desperate. End it." From the Ironclad's forward batteries, the Hellstorm cannons charged again. White-hot beams sliced through the Vornak command ship's shields. Inside, Warlord Zarkul, wounded but alive, watched in rage and disbelief. "They should have feared us," he snarled. "Why don't they fear us?" But the answer was clear. Humans did not fear. They fought. The Hellstorm cannons fired again, and the Vornak command ship exploded in a final, blinding burst. The Wrath delivered as the last Vornak ship burned. The Terran fleet regrouped. The survivors from the Horizon Dawn were safely aboard the Ironclad, receiving medical care. Evelyn Drake, bruised but unbowed, stood before Steele. "You got here fast," she said softly. Steele met her gaze. "When humans are in danger, we come." A signal pulsed through the void, a message sent by Steele himself. To every corner of the galaxy, to those who would harm humanity, know this. We strike first. We strike hard. And we do not forgive. The Terran fleet turned away from the battlefield, leaving nothing but broken wreckage and a warning burned into the stars. The Deathworlders had spoken, and the galaxy would never forget. The shattered remains of the Vornak fleet drifted silently through the cold void. Where once they had hunted and terrorized, now there was only wreckage, broken ships, and broken pride. But Admiral Marcus Steele knew the war was far from over. In the heart of the TDS Ironclad, the command bridge hummed with quiet intensity. Holographic displays flickered, showing the battlefield, the ruined Vornak vessels, and a single flashing marker, the Vornak home system. "They won't forget this," Commander Rajan said, watching the data scroll past. "We hit them hard, but the Vornak Empire isn't finished." Steele's expression remained cold. "Good. Let them remember. But the next strike will be even harder." Before Rajan could respond, a sharp alert cut through the bridge. "Incoming transmission, unknown source." "Put it through," Steele ordered. A holographic figure appeared, a tall, silver-scaled alien with glowing violet eyes. It was High Chancellor Virak of the Exalthean Consortium, one of the most powerful neutral factions in the galaxy. "Admiral Steele," Virak's voice was smooth but edged with tension. "Your actions against the Vornak have shifted the balance of power. You have their attention." Steele's face remained unreadable. "Good. We meant to get it." Virak's expression darkened. "You do not understand, human. The Vornak Emperor is furious. He is gathering his full war fleet. They plan to strike Earth itself." A cold silence filled the bridge. "They want revenge," Rajan said quietly. Steele's jaw tightened. "Let them come. But if they set foot in Seoul, it'll be their last mistake." The gathering storm.